Hi everybody, I am Brittany and I am back a little bit earlier than what I was anticipating being back, but I'm back. So I wasn't planning on doing a podcast this quickly, but I have been pretty productive in my knitting world. So I thought I would pop on, do a little episode, and give you some life updates because the last time I was pretty rushed trying to show you like all of the yarns and all of the things that I was working on because it had been a while. And this time I was like, maybe we should just pop on, say hello, and give you guys an update. So this is a knitting podcast, so hopefully, well, maybe not hopefully, but I would anticipate that you're probably here just to hear about knitting. So that's predominantly what I talk about, but I do kind of update you on my life and what I have been cooking and what I have been reading towards the end if you are interested in that kind of thing as well. So what am I wearing? I do have a finished object. This is the Knitorious, I stuttered a little bit, the Knitorious RBG sweater pullover, and this is by Park Williams. It is a wonderful pattern. I knit this last year when all of the US politics things were going on, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna knit the sweater because it will make me feel like I have a little bit of control over something. And it worked a little bit. I felt a little bit better about, everything that was going on in the news. So this is a sweater that I think is kind of designed to look like judges' robes or what Ruth Bader Ginsburg would wear. So she's known for her collars. So there's a little collar detail. I have not truthfully worn this out of the house. And it has nothing to do with the pattern. The pattern was great. I had a lot of fun knitting it. This is, I think, my first, definitely my first color work sweater. I've never done one before. So I am really impressed with how it turned out, honestly. I know that there is some theory behind how to hold the yarns. I guess it's not really a theory, but how to hold your yarn so that like one color is more dominant than the other one. I don't know if I did that the whole way through, but like honestly, I can see the design. So I think it worked, whatever I did. But I think if I were gonna do any more color work, yoked sweaters in particular, I would maybe watch a YouTube video or two about that next time. So this is designed to be oversized. There is kind of this bell sleeve happening, lots of extra fabric there. The shoulders kind of poof up a little bit, not a ton. It's not like shoulder pad, but they do poof a little bit as you're wearing them. And yeah, I have not worn it out. I have not worn it out of the house. So one of my goals this year is to make sure that I'm knitting things that I'm going to be wearing and I'm going to get use out of. And I love this pattern and I love this design and I feel very comfortable wearing it. The reason why I haven't actually worn it to my work or, out to whatever in my day-to-day is because of my yarn choice. I was in Colorado and I really wanted to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn, and we went to a yarn store, not in Denver proper, but in one of the suburbs, directly below Denver. Maybe that starts with an L. I can't remember. It's not Littleton. No. I always get them confused, Littleton and Lakewood and Centennial, but I don't think it was out in Centennial. So I think it was Littleton, Colorado. And my Colorado geography isn't up to scratch anymore. I used to live in Denver. I lived there for 5 years. So like it's been a while though, so I'm just having trouble remembering. But anyway, we were there visiting and we stopped at a yarn store and I really wanted to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn. And I had 2 patterns in mind. This was one of them. The other pattern, they did not carry the yarn brand that I wanted. And then they suggested another yarn brand and it was going to be like a $400 sweater. And I was like, oh, maybe not right now. So we went with this yarn and it was the only yarn that they had in stock that they had enough yardage for me in the right weight in the black and the white, because I felt like that was pretty important for this particular design. I think it would look cute in other colors, but for me, I really wanted kind of the traditional judge robes look. So this is Cascades yarn and it's in their Cherub Chunky and it's an acrylic and it is very, very warm to wear and it's heavy and it doesn't breathe super well. So living in Missouri where the climate is a little bit more warm and humid, and you sweat, even like in the winter sometimes, this is just not breathing as well as I would like it to. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I maybe am just gonna keep it for really, really, really cold days and try wearing it on one of those days and just see. Like maybe it's great and it'll be my warmest piece of clothing that I own. So yes, that is what I'm wearing. And I have a finished object, another one to show you. So this is fresh off of being blocked. I don't know if you can see the whole thing. Ooh, there you go. This is the Soho top by Kadri. And I was planning on having this on today, but I didn't weave in the ends. And as I said, I wasn't really anticipating podcasting today, but my boys are napping. So I was like, this is a great time. Let's do this. So this is my Soho top. It is done. I have tried it on and I think it fits really well. So next time I podcast, you will probably see this on and live on my body. So the yarn that I used for this was from Pearl Soho. This is the Sweet Grass in the colorway Rye Flower. And it's so soft and the stitch definition I think is really good on there. And blocking definitely evened out some of the like more uneven stitches. So it just looks pretty professional, I think. So really excited about this. I think it's going to be a great top for the summertime. The pattern did say that knitting in garter will grow quite a bit and stretch. So I was very careful when I was blocking this to not agitate or pull this down. But with that being said, I could have maybe pulled it a little bit because I have a longer torso. I told you guys I am tall. I'm like 6 foot tall. So having a little bit longer in the body wouldn't have been the end of the world. So I think as I wear it, if it stretches, that's fine. If it doesn't, it's fine too. Cropped kinds of garments are in style in St. Louis, to say the least. Okay, so finished object. I'm really excited about that one. And I will show it on next time. Okay, so you would think, wow, she's only been gone for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, and she has a finished object. She's wearing something, which I didn't knit recently, but I cast on another project, and this one is kind of bunched up. Let's see. And I've made significant progress on this one. So I told you last time I am in a spring weather mood and I want it to be spring. It is not spring, but I am knitting spring garments. So this is the Trunk Island Tank. And this pattern, very cool, very different construction than the Soho top, which I have to say, that pattern, so cool. So like if you are thinking about knitting a summertime garment, sleeveless, definitely try that one out. This one is also a very cool construction. It is bottom up, whereas the Soho top was top down. So I already did the bottom, and it's like rolling a little bit. So hopefully that won't actually happen once it's blocked. And then I already split to do the cups. And it's symmetric on the back. So I guess this could be like the back part or the front. There weren't really any increases or decreases happening. It's the same shape, sorry. It's the same shape on the front and the back. So I started kind of the second, this will be the neckline happening. And then it has these cute little ties that will tie on the shoulder. So I have one of those done. I just have to do the triangle here, the triangles on the back, and then bind off, block, weave in the ends, and I'll be able to wear it. So really excited about this one as well. The pattern is sparse. So it is only like 1 page front and back of writing. There's some pictures in there. I think when you print it, it's like 4 pages, but really it's like not that long. So there aren't that many instructions, but quite honestly, you don't need that many instructions for this. So it is a paid for pattern. I found it pretty easy to follow and understand what I was supposed to be doing. The only thing that was not so great was when you start going up for the body, then you need to separate for the triangles here and then the triangles on the back, and you have to do some decreases during that time. And I wound up with like decreases and then this weird loop. So I'm just gonna sew that in and I'm sure it'll be fine, but I messed up somewhere. So not entirely sure, but I think honestly, like just sewing that down, like you can't even really see it right now. So I'm just having a stitch there sewn. I think it'll be okay. Now you might be looking at it and saying like, what is happening there? So as you are going up the body, you do this little faux seam detail, and it actually looks really cool on the inside. I like it better, where you get all of your purl bumps and then this nice little knit stitch. I'm really into faux seams. I don't like seaming anything. I haven't had a whole lot of success with that. I know that it gives garments more structure. I just don't know how to do it very well. So it's not my favorite, but I do love that seam detail. This Soho top has the same thing, and it's like one of my favorite details. Like, look at how beautiful that is, super pretty. Okay, so wearing this next time, hopefully talking about this being finished next episode. And then last episode, I told you I've been carrying around socks in my purse. I haven't done a whole lot of knitting on those. And I also talked about my next plan. So I purchased yarn for 2 other spring tops, and one of them was going to be this Drops Saffron, and that's going to be the Sunday Tea by Petite Knit. So my husband, bless him, is my ball winder. So he is in process of winding these up for me, and there are a lot of them. So I very greatly appreciate him. And this is just 100% cotton. It came from Wool Warehouse, which I had never ordered from before. So if you are somebody thinking about ordering from them, check out last episode and I can tell you more about that process for me. So that hopefully will be cast on next time. Okay, so just a couple of other things. I am trying not to buy as much yarn this year, but I did purchase yarn for another sweater. So I am really into garments right now. I historically have not knit that many, but a lot of the podcasters that I've been watching, they are garment knitters, and I find that really fascinating. And I like seeing the different knitting patterns on a variety of people, both like personality wise and body shape wise. And I want to be knitting more. I want a me-made wardrobe. So we are in the process of that. We are getting there. But I did order yarn for a sweater. It was kind of an impulse purchase. So I was watching A League of Their Own on Amazon Prime, not the movie, the newish series. And I remembered there being a like League of Their Own sweater pattern, and I don't really remember what it was called. And I was watching the show and I was like, oh, let me go on Ravelry and see if I can find it. And I found the pattern and I was like, well, I have to get yarn for this pattern so that I can be watching the series and knitting on my League of Their Own sweater. And I don't even think that's what the pattern is called, but I went on the website to see if they had that yarn in stock, and they did. And they had it in like this cool colorway. It was like this blackish gray kind of color. And I was like, I don't have a sweater that color. And then I put it in my cart to see how much it would be. And it wasn't that expensive. And they were having a sale. So all in, I think it was under $50 for the quantity of yarn that I needed, and including shipping. Shipping was not free, and I felt really proud of myself because shipping was free if you spent like $75 or $100, and I was like, I only need to spend $50 like with shipping for this sweater. Should I just add more yarn to get to the free shipping? And my husband, of course, is like, no, why would you do that? And I was like, because then I don't pay for shipping. He's like, no, don't do it. So I didn't do it, and I only have a sweater's quantity of one sweater coming to me, which actually I feel really great about, because I started off this podcast saying like, I need to hold myself accountable and I need to be knitting the yarn that I have. And I have been doing that, and I feel very proud of that. But I also am trying to be a little bit more intentional with my purchases, which like there's room to grow there. There's room to grow there for sure. But I was proud of myself for not getting 2 sweater quantities of yarn just to get the free shipping. And the other piece with that, I didn't want to buy yarn that like 2 sweater quantities worth of yarn that I've never tried or felt or touched, and it was just online. That seemed really risky. So I didn't do it. Pat on the back for me. All right, so that was my knitting. That was my knitting plans and what I finished and where I'm going. So I guess we are into book and recipe and a little life chat. So book, we'll start there this time around. I am in a book club with some of my friends, and it started as a historical fiction romance genre book club, and we call it the Smut Club. And we have kind of devolved into just books that we are curious about, I guess, and books that are available as like book club reads at our local library. So all of us have kind of eclectic taste in books, and historical fiction was something that we all kind of liked. And then we also agreed that getting like just a ridiculous romance in there every once in a while was pretty awesome. And we were doing that for a while and then realized like, but it would be more economical if we could all get the same book from the St. Louis Public Library, and they have book club bags available. So now we are just picking books that are in stock from those book club bags. So there were a few different to choose from this time around, and we went with the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. And I actually have already read this book. I read it in high school. I feel like my AP English teacher, like my senior year, recommended that I read this book. And I did. And I had very fond memories of it. I was very excited to read it again. When it came up on the list, I was like, we're reading that one. But then I didn't remember anything about this book. So I'm still in process of reading it. I'm not even halfway through again, but it is about a family that travels to Africa as missionaries. And the place that they go in Africa is dealing with some political uprising. And these missionaries choose to stay even though it's not a good idea for them to stay, really, based on like everybody's kind of opinions that are in the area. It takes place in the 60s, maybe. There are some flashbacks to like the 50s and the 40s before the parents have children. And then I don't remember kind of like how long it goes, but that's currently where we're at. It's really interesting if you are a very religious person. It does not shine a super favorable light, I would say, on missionaries. That might just be my own take on it. Yeah. It doesn't make missionaries sound super great. I will say that. And I think, hearing about the family as well, if you have like a man that's kind of controlling or dominating, this book could be a little triggering for you potentially. But with that being said, super well written. Love Barbara Kingsolver's writing style. Her motifs and themes in books are just so eloquent. They make me think about things and in a new way. So definitely would recommend this one, even though I have no idea how it ends and don't remember it all that well. But I am very much enjoying reading that book. And then Recipe comes next. I had trouble figuring out what to share with you guys this time around. So I have been not dieting necessarily, but I have been eating a little weirder than I normally do. So I like cooking at home and I go through phases. I'm very much a phase cooker and eater. So I have gone through like a slow cooker phase where literally every meal that I could possibly do, I wanted to do from a slow cooker. I went through a Trader Joe's phase where I would just get anything like Trader Joe's from their prepared meals or their frozen meals. And I went online and I looked up like what 4 things to like mix together from Trader Joe's for the easiest dinner possible. And I was making those and delicious, super good. And then I go through like not wanting to eat a ton of meat, smoothie phase. So like this past week has been kind of interesting. I love pizza, so we've gotten pizza quite a bit. both delivered and homemade and frozen pizza. So if you are in the St. Louis area, there were several restaurants and breweries that did like a collaboration of making frozen pizzas, and they are available at Schnucks, our local grocery store. That's like our big chain one here. And we've been eating those and very much enjoying them. So like Euro pizza, chicken shawarma pizza, there's like a red hot riplet pizza. Yeah, a lot of really good ones. There's like a barbecue chicken one with sugar fire pizza. All delicious. Have had a lot of pizza within the last week. And then my mom came to visit. So in my live chat area, which I didn't really do last time, my mom was coming to visit, and my son Teddy was out of school for a little bit because it was his spring break. So she came down and we did all of like the super fun things to do with a toddler in St. Louis. And if you have kids and you're thinking about traveling someplace, St. Louis is a wonderful destination if you do have children. We have a ton of parks. There's Six Flags. We went to the aquarium. Teddy is 3. He'll be 4 in July, and he loved the aquarium. It was a little expensive, but they have a bunch of exhibits where you can touch like different sea life and creatures, which is weird, but also very entertaining. So they have like the little fish that you see at manicure and pedicure salons that like eat, I don't know if they really eat, but like they eat the dead skin. So they have those there, and you can like put your hands in the tank and they like swarm. And they do like these little all over. That's probably gross. Anyway, you touch little jellyfish, there's starfish, there's like the manta ray. You can like rub their backs. Very interesting. I was not predicting that I was going to be touching a lot of sea animals, but we did, and it was fun. And if you go to the aquarium, it's in Union Station, so our old train station, and there's a big carousel, but also a Ferris wheel to take kids on. There's like a restaurant over there where you can get ice cream and root beer floats or soda floats. So there was that. We went to Myseum, which is like a kids museum where they have a bunch of different exhibits and fun things for kids to play on and around and experiment with. We have Magic House. We did not go there, but Magic House is very similar to Myseum. Anyway, lots of attractions for little kiddos to go and explore in St. Louis, and a lot of them are free. So none of the ones that I mentioned are free, but we have the zoo, Grant's Farm, History Museum, our Science Center. So there are a lot of different museums and kind of institutions, things to do with kids in St. Louis that are completely free. And it's great to have a little staycation in St. Louis over spring break, which is what we did with my mom. And it was wonderful. But that took a big tangent there. Anyway, what I was trying to say is she came in to visit, and because she was here, we didn't eat a ton at home. There are just certain things that she really likes to have when she's in town, because she is from Michigan. She doesn't have the same restaurants that we do here. So we did eat out a little bit. The things that I made while she was here were not like my favorite recipes of all time. So I was like, I don't want to share any of those. So I was really scratching my brain, trying to figure out what I wanted to share with you. And then I thought to myself, well, duh. I went to trivia night last night as a fundraiser for one of our local schools, which is a big St. Louis thing. Like, everybody does a trivia night fundraiser here, and they are really fun. But people have like their standard things that they contribute to the table. A lot of times it's like pretzels, soft pretzels from places in St. Louis. We get a lot of like little chicken fingers and things. Last trivia night I went to, I made like this big charcuterie spread, and my husband was like, don't do that again. That was really expensive. And I was like, yeah. So this time around I made dill dip, and that's the recipe I'm going to be sharing with you. So I will have a link to a website with a very similar recipe. It is not the one that I actually made. The one that I make is from my husband's grandmother. She is a published recipe author in a junior league cookbook from like the 70s. And it is her dill dip recipe in this book that I always use and make, and it is so good. But I like Googled like dill dip with Beaumont seasoning, and I found a very similar recipe online to like actually put on here so that you can easily access it on your phone, or access it on your phone or your computer or wherever you're watching this from. So it's really good. Out of everything that was on the table, like dill dip was gone very early on, and I made a lot of it, like cups of dill dip, and all gone. We had people from like other tables that came over to be like, can I have some of that dill dip? And I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, so it's a crowd pleaser. If you have people that are gluten-free or vegetarian, it's perfect. Perfect. Highly recommend trying it out. We eat it with vegetables, like raw veggies, carrots, cauliflower, snap peas, if we're trying to be healthy. I mean, you're literally dipping raw vegetable in mayonnaise and sour cream, so it's like not healthy, but healthy-ish. Cherry tomatoes are really good in it, and we love a good Lay's ruffle chip. Oh, delicious. So if you are looking for a little party recipe, highly recommend it. And then, just a little bit more life update. So I said my mom came to visit to St. Louis, and she was here for about a week. It was a great visit. I always love having her in town and getting to see her. She had a knee replacement on one knee, and then like a year later had her other knee done. And it was just great to see her being able to be more mobile. When she did come here, she was able to like go to the aquarium with us and walk all the way around. I was very worried that we were going to like, I don't know, push her too hard. So she did wonderfully, and it was just great to see that she's healing and kind of back up on her feet again. Because for a while there, it looked painful every time she was taking a step. I was like, oh, that is probably my future. I don't have the best knees either. So I was like, oh, yikes. But she's doing great. Let's see, Teddy is back at school. Spring break is now over. He actually has tomorrow off. He has his teachers have a professional development day. My mom came into town partially because it was spring break, but partially because my little baby is not a baby anymore. He turned 1 on March 23rd. So we were celebrating his first year birthday. And we did the whole cake and balloons, and it was super special, and I'm a little sad. He's already 1. He'll probably be our last one. I don't think we're gonna have any more children, so that's also been kind of like not a hard thing to navigate, or like a hard realization to have, but it was just like, yeah, we're done. But I mean, you're never really done being a parent, but it's like, baby phase will never be back until they have babies, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, let's see. I think that's about it, guys. I don't know. But thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully knitting away or relaxing, doing whatever you're doing. And I look forward to hearing from you guys or seeing you or, reading your comments. So I hope you are all enjoying some spring weather or having some spring weather come your way. And I look forward to doing this again. All right, bye guys.